end. We talk it out.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, any part of the world that you're able to hear us, including the Middle East. Welcome to our program, On Target. We never have a subject matter, so we speak on any issues, and you have the authority, you have the power, you have the medium to pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 4420175. You don't have to agree with us. We just encourage people to respect the views of one another. Today, the Middle East is in crisis, and you have a potential escalation of the war. And it doesn't mean it cannot be Third World War. People seem to want to fight. Although some leaders want to fight, they're hesitant to fight. They realize the destructive capability of countries now because of technology. You can stay in your country and cause havoc and obliteration miles away from your home. And Iran and Israel is in a clash. The United States have joined in, and there seems to be no end in sight. The call for truce have been relatively ignored. You have a crisis between Russia and Ukraine, and while the world was distracted, Russia bombed a number of new sites in Ukraine. And in Grenada here, we're well aware that Guyana and Venezuela have the issues. And the language of the Trinidad government was a bit rough, unnecessarily rough. But we believe that people must make peace. We must make peace. In Grenada here, we have our issues, and we believe there is not enough voice of reason calling for better governance. We were well aware the government would make mistakes, but it seems as though they're making more mistakes than we bargained for. And this is because not enough voices have been calling them to nudge them to walk the straight and narrow. And it seems to be a challenge because people seem to be a little bit more lackadaisical, taking things for granted. Mediocrity perhaps is the order of the day, and it shows in all aspects of our life. Our children are going to school. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good day to Mr. Pierre.
Yes, man.
And the Real FM family. And the Target family. Well, we're going to come to the middle of the war because that is very important. But from last night, I upset. And I believe it's the policy of this government that must make a comment. You see this Real FM station, which I always praise as the most informative station in Grenada, Carrick, and Piedimonte. This station has been providing Grenadians with all necessary information. And when I believe it is welcomed by most Grenadians, the NDC has been pushing propaganda that one of them came to me in my face and told me, all the information you have is on Real FM, you get it. I said, well, that's very good. So I said, what you have with Real FM? Not realizing because this present administration don't want information to go out. They want to hide all the wrong deeds. And they said that Real FM is putting out the most information against the government. I said, no, this is not the information. The information not belonging to Real FM. Real FM bring out the news as they get it. We should praise that station. We should praise that media. It's not a biased media. He said, all what you're hearing, most of what you're hearing about the NDC going the wrong way is on Real FM. I said, that's not a fact. So this could be the NDC, but preaching this. And I'm really upset, and I want Grenadians to take note, to have such a good media house, bringing out information to the voiceless and to who don't know what's going on. And this present administration activists have a problem with it. You have a prime minister who have no comment to make about corruption because he endorsed corruption. You have a prime minister who believes he could rule by lie. First time in our history. I listened last night where one of the former ministers, which lost his job, said he was escorted out the cabinet room by an officer, one left, one right. The prime minister said he have no idea about that. When I know the prime minister is the only one with the authority to give this senior officer the authority to escort a minister in such situation. The prime minister said that is news to him. He don't know nothing about that. So I believe lie will destroy the National Congress, the Democratic Congress, because they win by lie. And they want to continue to rule by lies. Lies not always work out. I agree, someone might twist something into the political world. I know that. But you cannot depend on to run a nation by not speaking the truth. This is why I welcome Mr. Pierre, you on target.
Yeah.
You don't put out anything without information. I think that's a very, 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 very good thing. I give you a plus for that. You try to get, if you don't have information, you leave certain situation rest in peace. All the other target people who just call, make your comment. Lie get worse in this country, and are going to destroy our administration. I rest my case.
Yes, scholar. It is a very important thing in a society to get information. And I've always said to the NDC, your very policy is counterproductive. Because if you don't provide information, speculation will run wild. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, I don't know what is going on. I don't really know what is happening.
I don't know if you're speaking close to the phone.
I don't know what happened with we Grenadians now. We just silent everything what is going on. We just silent. Jenny come out with some points. We just silent. We still making song on Jenny. The calypso. I don't know what is going on, Mr. Pierre.
But it's not fair to say everybody is not silent, you know. We are speaking on issues.
Mr. Pierre,
Jenny Simon is speaking, Sheldon Scott and other people, and you always speaking on issues.
But the programs are so quiet.
What happened? You expect more people to speak on it.
That is it.
Yeah, but we are not quiet. We are challenging.
Relative need people to commend him, and for the program, nobody calling, they only listening, they don't call it, and they know all what is taking place in Grenada. Can you come to the matinee?
Sometimes we have to give people a chance. Some people are not quick to call.
Mr.
and they sit down and listen to it and hope.
Mr. Pierre, we are going the wrong way. Too much I think is going on. We don't hear the Prime Minister. I guess people love the Prime Minister. But if we're doing something what is wrong, and ministers doing something what is wrong, please now, come out and say something. We are going the wrong way. We are going the wrong way. And later days, it won't be good for us. I heard a talk on GIS. One of the ministers promote the police officers. Oh, they are much happy now. They're smiling and all this kind of thing. And they know what is going on, Mr. Pierre. Long live Andy. Long live Andy Williams. Oh, God. Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, thank you. You have to prepare to tolerate the members of the government too in doing the propaganda. They will try to protect Andy. I don't know if they could, because there are so much acts of corruption associated with Andy that it might be very difficult to protect him. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't keep him on the cabinet for as long as they could. But it's not easy to protect him. I don't see how he could defend himself. And maybe Deacon Mitchell, the Prime Minister of Grenada, contributed to that. I've been saying for the last 2 years that Andy seems to be a relatively nice guy that the Prime Minister is using. And eventually, he is expendable. And I feel that is what happened. Some of the accusation against Andy, it looks credible. And he have to make attempt to defend himself. I don't know if he could. Bearing in mind his history. So that's one of the challenges that we have. But we also have the challenge in our country that we are not doing enough to manage and to help and to guide our own. When you go to a community and you see a lot of irresponsible behavior and violence, you'll take a page and look at the adults. Because the young people are doing it because the adults in that village may be small in number, their voices are not loud enough, and they are practically sidelined. You would have that in community. Men are practically sidelined. And by the time the boys reach 50 years, they recognize the dilemma. So that's a challenge that we have. And we could only turn on ourselves and our teachers in school to grow and to produce children that have the competitive edge, strong children. They could evolve and get involved and improve in any field they want. They have the carpentry skills. They have plumbing, shoemaker, all these areas, art, carving, that people can get involved in a positive way. So we want to encourage our teachers, because we believe that when the situation reached to that stage, the teachers you have to call on. The schools, the primary schools, are the ones who produce cricketers, whether it's for St. George's or the National Cricket Association. You expect the primary schools to produce the cricketers that will enter them. And we are not satisfied that the schools are doing enough for sports. And on that we say, we make suggestion what people should study in school. People should study maths. Very important. If you want to go forward, mathematics and physics. People should study physics. Chemistry. All people should be doing chemistry to school. Biology. I know biology now, you have human and social biology and you have biology. It doesn't matter which one. We should try to excel in these areas. Music. We must get involved in music. And if the child like music, they're going to do research. We have to do better as a people. We seem to be walking away from ourselves. I was listening to a piece of news a couple of days that refreshed my mind. The Jews are very, very successful. Maybe because they was persecuted over the world and they had to move from place to place. But they were very successful. They're about 2% or less than 2% of the world's population. But they all 50, but they also contribute to more than 20% of the laureates in the world. So you have a population of about 2% or less. But they contribute 20% of the laureates in the world. And sometimes we could take a page from other people's book. We have a long-standing relationship with Cuba. We don't have to take the bad points. We could look at the good points and take it. People have a relationship with the Jews, whether supporting them, want to kill them, against them. Iran is one of their objectives is to wipe the Jews out of the face of the map. We as a people who was also colonized, who was in slavery for a long time, could take a page from this book. But as individuals in our own homes and in our own families, we have to ask ourselves questions. Because our children are not doing well in school. They are not doing well. And we ought to be concerned. We watch this war that go on with Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Iran, and we see the strength of technology that is involved. So when our children go to school and they are not doing well, we have to be concerned. We can't just ignore it. We have to be concerned. We have to examine what our children do in school. Are they doing mathematics? Are they doing biology? Are they studying chemistry? What about physics? Is our children studying physics? Are they studying music? Well, almost everything you do in school today, you must deal with computer science. Because everything is about the computer. You hear governments talking about a paperless society. Are we satisfied that we are preparing our children for such? Because if our children end up on the job market and they don't have the skills, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the attitude, they would not be competitive on the job market. I repeat that many times. The reputable companies in the Caribbean region going to tell you that 60% of the people who are unemployed they don't have the skills and talents for the jobs that are available. So it's not that jobs are not available here. All people don't have the skills. They don't have the talents for the job available. In other words, they're not competitive on the job market. And this must be taken seriously. And we must work now to improve the productivity level in our schools. We can't just joke about that. Too much of our children are failing maths, failing physics, failing chemistry, failing biology. By the time they reach in Form 5, these subjects is like aliens. They are not doing it. Well, I believe that when you go to school, and the age of leaving secondary school is about 16, 17, 15, depends on when you enter. You should have a basic education that makes you competitive on the job market. If you want to further your education, you would have attained the basic requirements to enter university. Some people argue that they want the children to skills or talents. But that is after. When you would have, yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I heard you talking about the war what fighting. I hear in the war too, on the radio, I hear the war on them. But when I look at it, beasts don't even fighting so, them animal and them what they are about wild or tired about, they don't fighting so. They are more loving them still than the people and them what that people and them is Satan people. All them leaders what we check in the. All of them is evil when I check it out. Whether Israel leader, whether Russia, any one of them, Iran, all of these people and them Trump, all is evil. And I'm sure you realize that for yourself. Them are evil. So I'm done with that. That little piece I come I bring out. You there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, them people is evil.
Yeah.
All right. Pleasant.
Well, we still have to be knowledgeable about what's going on in this region because it could seriously affect us. We trade quite a lot with the international community, and these things could seriously affect us. And if more countries joining up in these war, then you could reach a stage where you have nuclear weapon being used. And that is one of the biggest fear of Israel because Iran pledged to wipe them out of the face of the earth. So this is what is a challenge. And in light of all these things taking place, it should act as a catalyst for us in Grenada here to pay more attention to the education our children have. Now, if our children are exiting school, they live in school, and over 70% of them cannot meet the minimum requirement, then this is a challenge for any nation. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, God.
Mr. Pierre, my mind run back on Mr. Tillman Thomas. To me, he and Mr. Deacon Mitchell have the same mind because the same way that Mr. Gilbert was fired is the same way that this gentleman now get fired. So it seemed to me the policy of the NDC. Because when Mr. Gilbert was fired, the members of cabinet asked the Prime Minister, at least I think they were sort of divided at that time, because the Prime Minister said he fired Gilbert for a letter that was written and be in his desk. Didn't give out. And he was called in and fired.
And Mr. Bristol go for this letter?
Huh?
You remember, is not Mr. Bristol the lawyer?
No.
Okay.
No, Mr. Bristol was a different name. Mr. Bristol writes a letter to the
using the government headline.
Yes, using it there. And but he was asked to apologize, but he was still fired by Mr. Tillman again. So he looked like he's a kind of circle thing, and the other members. I mean, it hurt me to know that you sit down in there, and the Prime Minister, after he fired the man, he turned and asked him, "You not looking, please? You have some question you want to ask me?" And the gentleman, he and the gentleman was arranging for some time later on to answer the question. But you have the cabinet in front of you, and you I mean, come on, something wrong.
A lot wrong.
Yes, something wrong.
Yeah.
To me, the cabinet members is hiding a lot of things there. Certain things is in crossroad, and the cabinet members are hiding it. And to me, sometimes it will have to come out. It appearing so that certain things are in the crossroad. Because if Mr. Gentleman told the Prime Minister about what's been going on in the Lotto, and the Prime Minister said that he's going to investigate it, leave it for him to investigate. And up to date, we have not had a bit of investigation on that. So something seems to be wrong again.
Yeah, well, you have to remember that the Prime Minister said information is based upon need to know. So maybe you don't feel that we qualify to know that.
But the questions concerning that was asked to him by
but he's not answering, dodging.
Yeah. So I mean, we could be sitting on a
time bomb.
Yeah, time bomb. Because if you're not answering, and you don't wait for the man to think, telling the man that you don't find his place pleasing. So if you tell a man you make him go, you expect him to feel to have a pleasing place. You tell the man you want him to go in another country as ambassador. The man tell you no, you don't prepare for that. Yeah? You didn't invite him to go there before. I mean, come on, something has to be wrong. These other ministers have to watch themselves.
Well, I think they do. That's why they're shutting them out.
Well, let's hope it's that.
Yeah. Yes, scholar. You can give us a call. The number is 442-0175. And we'll read your posting if you like us to. But you can give us a call and express your views on any subject matter. The last caller spoke about the corruption though, and we've been addressing these issues very long time. And we believe that perhaps if more people spoke about the things that we express concern of, Deacon may not be in all this problem that he has today. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my brother.
Yes. Looking at the history of NDC, I see NDC as a satanic cult. Now, my reason for saying that, one, let us look at the symbol that they use, the heart. What does the scripture, the God who created man, what does he tell us about the heart? He tells us that the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked, right? So why should one choose the heart as your symbol? The next thing is that when we look at what happened during the last election campaign, the chariot seance calling on Bishop Spirit, which is demonic. Lacret participated in that. Now, Lacret claiming to be a man of God. The truth is that Lacret never said who is the God he believed in. But he also mocked God's prophet, Jonah, right? Now, I looked at a program last night where they've been playing piece of that campaign with Lacrette with this lifeguard suit on him, Mama Guy in himself. And this tone of voice that these guys and them using, these things are not normal. It is demonic, right? I usually do a whole lot of research and they can't fool me. So what they do is to use Satanism to try to gain power in this country. Look at what happened after the election. Look at the amount of blood that's spilled in this country. Lacrette is sowing what he reaped. And organizing another political party wouldn't save him. Because if he really believed in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what Lacrette should do is to repent. Because even after they won the election and they start referring to the Prime Minister's baby Jesus, he never stopped them. And this again is an abomination. And people have to understand that God is not mocked, right? I keep on telling people that this government must fail. It is compulsory that they fail. I know they're going to fail because I know that God don't take it lightly. When man call on the dead, when man invoke the dead, right? So it is straight destruction to this country. And there are many pastors in this country that are going around fooling people. They don't believe in the true God. But what they are doing, they're using the churches, they're using religion to manipulate and control a lot of people. And people are so ignorant that they are not studying the scriptures. So they're allowing themselves to be fooled. These men studying psychology and they're studying witchcraft and they are tricking people. They are no different to Simon Magos in the book of Acts. And what, Mr. Lacrette, I'm calling on you, sir. The solution to your problem is not going on from a political party. I guarantee you that Almighty God will embarrass you. You have to repent from the wickedness. You make a mockery of God's prophet Jonah. Mr. Lacrette, repent. Tomorrow will be too late. Turn from your wicked ways, sir. The tricks that you work on the Grenadian people, you are paying for it. You are paying and you're going to continue to pay as long as you don't repent. Mr. Pierre, have a good day, sir.
Yes, scholar, yes. This was an important one. I too was taken aback and very disappointed when the Prime Minister of Grenada dabbled in the occult. This is a no-no in Grenada. There's one or two people that are known to evoke the dead and people always treat them, like they deserve. People felt that they dabble in the occult. And when Deacon was doing it, he got support from saltless Christians. We Christians are very saltless. He got the support from them. And yes, I hope that he cease and desist from this practice. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, well, just quickly, Mr. Pierre, I don't normally call back, but I would like that caller to get my number because he preached something I normally preach. I want to know how he could be so identical to what I'm saying. I've been telling some activists that just about a week ago, and this caller come out with that same thing. My number is 534-0170. I want to share the sentiment of that caller. So you could give me a call, I don't know, because you won't know where he's from. Thank you.
Yes, there are a number of things that the Prime Minister did was unacceptable, unbecoming, strange, unorthodox. And I always believe he should have been nudged. And that might have been able to save him. Some of the actions he takes, some of the things he support was unacceptable. And dabbling in the occult was one of them. But the amount of lies that he told too, it saddens one heart. And when he was confronted, he changed his mouth. And that gave us the impression that he might be on some mind-altering substance. So, yes, I have to agree with you. We don't accustom seeing a prime minister behave like that. I'm well aware that he did not have the experience, a political neophyte, but he ought to be smart enough to have senior people around him. And we are paying the price, and you are hearing all these acts of corruption, whether it is Ron selling the lady car, lucky, meeting in the accident and his actions. So when these things happen, you have to be careful. We look at the other brother in Kariku, seems to be very arrogant and disrespectful and cussing the police at a high level. You don't get involved in cussing police. You recognize even when the police is wrong. You treat the police with some level of respect. But these young boys have a culture of respect. And that's where parents come in. Some children don't have parents, but the neighbors are guardians. Whoever live with them, to train them to have character, strong morality, be decent. You send them to church. You bless your children when they leave in home in the morning time. You provide blessings for them. And perhaps we as a nation, we're not hungry enough to advocate what is right. You want, in the same way you want your children grow up right. You want them grow up with respect. And respect doesn't mean that you accept anything. Yes, caller, welcome.
I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness. Good to see you.
Good to hear you, my brother.
How do you do?
Great, man.
To the Prime Minister, I would not be too long. But I genuinely need to ask the Prime Minister, Mr. Economic Mitchell. So, as the Prime Minister of Grenada, Carriacou, and the Petit Matnik, what course of direction, sir, as a young man, as a young leader, are you taking Grenada to? Mr. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, this is Pastor Louis here. Sir, at your age, what example you are really setting to the young people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Matnik? Are you a real role model, sir? Mr. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, a couple of weeks ago, sir, you was against the only plane of Jab. But you was the one, sir, that started it. Because when you say they are job in cabinet and they are job in parliament, and you said job must play. So, after you had made that statement, the job get mad. Because whether not for carnival or before carnival, job must play. Mr. Prime Minister, after you said that the job was playing the job too early, you know the thing that really upset me, Mr. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell? You discovered that the job was against you when you made that statement, Mr. Prime Minister. But you know what you did, and it was very unfair? And you know what you did, and you will plunge that country in a bad state? Mr. Prime Minister, you wanted us to redeem yourself. That the job should change their mind in being against you when you said they playing the job too early. You know what you did, Mr. Prime Minister? You went on your cruise. And while you was on the cruise and your supporters was on the cruise with you. I don't know. Was it a slip of the tongue? I don't feel. I think it was purposely to redeem yourself from the job. When you took the mic and you said more job, more job, more job, and you stopped there and the crowd bust the word out. Oh God. No, man. No, Mr. Prime Minister. Oh, you could do a thing like that, man. Mr. Prime Minister, how you could do a thing like that? One example are you setting as a young man for young people your age and under your age? Mr. Prime Minister, you lose control of the country. Because I'm telling you, sir, when carnival come, you don't control in that job. I rest my case, senior, and I'm disturbed. I'm really disturbed. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think job has become Juve job. As we know it before, job was slightly different. But job has become Juve job. And it was the NDC that declared 10,000 job. It was them that declared that. It was the NDC that pay and encourage the job to play in defiance of the government asking them not to because of the likely effect you would have on the home. They didn't bother. It was there. They played their job, they enjoyed themselves, and left and go. And the leader of the country had to be careful that you don't escalate job. When Gary in the 70s decided to curb job in St. George's, the high school students and others jump in and support the job. So right now, when these things happen, the leader of a country had to be careful what you say. You don't add fuel to fire. And the caller is right. A few weeks before, he was complaining a job too early without saying what time the job should start. And there is no need for you to begin mass this early. It is done so that anybody having activity, you all could get money from them. That is counterproductive. That is why you see so much job action there. The individual color job, and they're raising the same funds without music, but job. So we have to be careful as a people. And while we see these things going on, we have to ask ourselves, how do we prepare our children to be competitive on the job market? What do we do? They are going to school, but some of them are not. They're not doing the subjects that are necessary for the basic competitiveness on the job market. I believe a child going to school must do mathematics, English language, you have to communicate, chemistry and biology, and physics. That would help that kid to think and to reason more. I'm not saying the other subjects are not important, but they are less competitive on the job market. So we have to be concerned. Today in Grenada, we have to be concerned more than any other time. Yes, scholar.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, scholar.
As it relates to the Lotto issue, the corruption in Lotto. Now, Simon Says was the first that brought it to our attention. And she continues to ask the Prime Minister to do an investigation into the Lotto matter. The question is, well, I was wondering if that happened when Senator Jonathan Lackett was the minister under which Lotto fall, as we know, sports. But listening to Senator Lackett, when he went in the ministry, when he took over, he was called upon, he was told about the corruption that was taking place there, Mr. Pierre. So you have to wonder, there was a minister before him, which we all know was Ron Redhead. So it is right to say that the corruption was taking place while Ron Redhead was minister. Okay. What did he do about it? That's what we don't know. Was he aware about it? That we don't know. Was he part and parcel of it? That we don't know. Okay? Senator Lackett was relieved of his post, fired of his post, so he was no longer in Lotto, responsible for Lotto. And we all hear the stories why he was removed. We now have another minister in charge, responsible for Lotto. The question is the corruption going ahead in Lotto still? If not, the present minister that is responsible for the lottery, what has that minister done? What did that minister do to stop the corruption? If the corruption has been stopped, what did that minister do to stop the corruption? And as I said, is the corruption going ahead still? Now, when Jenny came out with the corruption in Lotto, and when we get to know that she write to the Integrity Commission, there we have Jonathan Lackett, Lackett, as we know him as Lackett. His predecessor, when Jenny says she wrote to the Integrity Commission, we have Mr. Ron Redhead claiming that he went, we don't know what he did, if he went, he called or whatnot, but he got the information from the Integrity Commission, and it is false. He carried out his own investigation on what Jenny says. My question is, Mr. Pierre, my question is Mr. Ron Redhead investigating himself as to what happened in Lotto when he was there? I would like to know, Mr. Pierre.
It's an interesting question, but I don't think he was investigating himself. Mr. Ron Redhead was investigating.
He was quick to, when Jenny says she wrote to the Integrity Commission, he was quick.
Yeah, maybe he doing damage
that
control.
He got information, and the information he got, whatever it was Jenny was saying, it is incorrect. My question is, when Ron Redhead was in charge of sports, under which Lotto Authority falls, was there corruption? Was there corruption in the NLA? If there was, what he did about it? What he did about it?
Yes, scholar.
Thank you, Mr. Pierre. I have a lot more to ask.
Yes, it's a powerful question you're asking, what he did about it. I think Ron ended up in a group with that lack maturity. And Ron believes he's a powerful spokesman. And recognizing that that group is weak, Ron will do what Ron do. If Ron in a strong group where character and morality is involved, Ron will try. But I believe the corruption is so widespread among NDC, it's difficult. And even Lotto knew there was corruption before. Maybe he reached a stage where he can stand it. But the NDC said they was paying money. They paid money for good relationship. I'm certain Lotto heard us screaming on the radio that they received gifts, expensive gifts, that was not retired to the Integrity Commission. I'm certain that he knew that they flaunt the law in the GDB Bank, the 1973 regulation, to provide the opportunity for ministers to lend money. I'm certain Lotto heard that number 10 was paid 160,000 plus other things. So there was enough acts there for Lotto to challenge the system. He is a man that had a lifeguard. I don't know what he did with the fact that a number of young people was thrown out of the job on Carriacou. By July 5th, they received those letters by July 5th. And they came to power on the 23rd of June. He was aware of that. I would like to ask the Prime Minister and Lotto, who is the third party directing our foreign affairs? That's one of the questions I'll ask to Lotto. Because Lotto ought to be concerned that there is a third party directing our foreign affairs. You have often heard me ask, who sent Deacon? He entered the politics with a personal agenda. And if Lotto is so concerned now, he ought to be concerned when it seems that a third party was directing our foreign affairs. These are fundamental issues. After 50 years of independence, we know that you could end up in a big pause. You just a pawn and be just a pawn, but you have to try to always direct your issues. And if we have a country where a third party directing our issues, it ought to be concerned. I'm certain Lotto had a number of questions. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, caller.
Good afternoon to you, sir,
Okay.
and a pleasant afternoon to your listening audience. Well, this is the voice of reason, and I categorize myself as a committed and dedicated.
I find you kind of low.
Oh, you hear me now good?
Yeah.
Yes. This is the voice of reason, and I categorize myself as a committed and dedicated supporter of the movement. And Mr. Pierre, I am prepared to do everything within my power to ensure that the individual that make himself available to represent St. Andrew Northwest, St. Andrew Southwest, on behalf of the movement, I will try to do everything possible to ensure that he gets to our House of Representatives. And the other thing is that I want to hear what the other side will say about this gentleman, because both NNP and NDC, they went to this gentleman to get him as a candidate to run for them. And he did not take the bait, so to speak, and he made the decision to run for the movement. Mr. Pierre, the other point I want to raise based on what Lotto said, what it means is that, generally speaking, most of the ministries was given out. And when they tell Lotto that they offer him to go to Canada, well, he turned that down. And he asked them what else is available. Mr. Pierre, Lotto became the Minister of Health. What it means is that health was available. The point I'm trying to make here, how important was health and health care for the present administration, that when they dish out most of the ministry, what was left? One of them was
health care. And you gave you gave somebody the opportunity to choose which one they want. Mr. Pierre, if health care was not a priority up front, I'm trying to understand how come health care will be a priority on the back end.
Yeah.
No, quickly. A citizen come out and accuse a minister of government of taking a bribe. They call this figure. They call the 15,000 for the vehicle and all these things. I cannot believe for 1 second that the NDC just simply letting this guy brush it aside. No, I call in on my NDC brothers and sisters, those who are
coming to the end
on a daily basis. If somebody accuses a minister of doing something like that, you don't, and he said the person lied, and the person saying, take me to court, you don't find the minister who representing the people of Grenada have a responsibility to take this person to court to prove that they're lying on him?
Yes, Scholar, thank you very much.
Have a pleasant day, sir.
We come to the end of the program, and we have to always remember that I think the NDC, and that is what is unfortunate and sad, because over 2 years ago when I was speaking, I was encouraging people, don't let NDC go down the slippery slope fast. I call them political neophytes. We said that they lack institutional knowledge, that it was arrogant and disrespectful. And some of their strong supporters was trying to mar or intimidate us rather than taking that advice to nudge their people into reality. There are so much acts of corruption that I believe is not really the leader, the minister in MIT, Andy Williams, that should be investigated, but Deacon and MIT should be investigated for corruption. I think Deacon was the one who selected Andy. And earlier I said Deacon recognized Andy's weakness and he will use him. But Deacon not supposed to receive gifts from big companies as the prime minister. And he gave Andy millions of dollars in his ministry that should not be given to MIT. That money should be under housing. And the 100 house unit in Kareku, Deacon, that is the one that should be investigated. He is complicit, he is involved, and he's aware of the massive corruption. And he sees nothing is wrong with it because they're more preoccupied with raiding the government coffers. We want to thank all those who call and those who participate and those who share. And we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. And you have another opportunity to punch. Thank you very much.
91.5, join the talk. Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend.